gravity. A force so constant in our daily lives we scarcely perceive its presence. For many of us, we are destined to live our entire lives within its persistent grasp. Though weighty life is the norm, it is by no means the law. Each year, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration accepts a select number of university students to experience weightlessness aboard its KC-135 aircraft. Student teams are chosen based on proposals for scientific research, which they will conduct in the reduced state of gravity. The team members chosen to fly must undergo special safety training and a barrage of tests designed to prepare them for this most unusual experience into weightlessness aboard NASA's KC-135. In 1959, NASA created its reduced gravity program in order to study the effects of weightlessness on human beings. As an ingenious alternative to spaceflight, the program employs a modified Boeing 707 airliner. The jet simulates weightlessness by flying through a series of arched maneuvers, or parabolas. At the top of each parabola, the aircraft noses down to produce about 25 seconds of weightlessness. It then pulls up with a force of twice normal gravity. This maneuver has been performed over 80,000 times for research, training, and even filmmaking.
Hold this attitude! Take a big turn, Tom. Let me see your feet.
Today, NASA's hangar doors are open to students who have research ideas of their own. It's called the Student Flight Opportunities Program, hosted by the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas.
I heard about the KC-135 project from previous University of Michigan teams, and I always thought it would be a great opportunity. And I almost joined one a couple of years ago, but they already had their flight roster full, so decided to do one on my own or with a group of people, start something.
It all started, I guess, when my friend Lindsay came out to visit from Michigan, and she had an idea for something to try.
And we started talking about how in the world we could get ourselves to feel weightlessness on the KC-135.
Well, I had a couple ideas in my sketchbook.
He had a really great idea about a Schlieren system.
How light refracted through heated air.
Their basic idea: when air is heated, it both rises and causes light to refract, or bend slightly. You've probably seen this effect for yourself if you've ever looked through the rippling heat waves above a hot barbecue. But what happens without gravity? Lindsay and David reasoned that warm air would no longer rise, but that it would still cause light to refract, almost like a lens. But what would this look like? Could this effect be the basis for a new kind of futuristic space telescope? They decided that this was definitely worth exploring.
The first thing we did was, once we had an idea, Lindsay went back and she wrote up a paper and submitted her proposal for the project. And we didn't hear anything back from them for probably 3 or 4 months until she called me and said that she'd just gotten a call from NASA and we were going to go on the flight.
I really wasn't expecting anything, but yeah, surprised.
We were accepted to fly, so now we had to actually go ahead and build the experiment, which was a major step.
And so after that, all of a sudden we could find all these other people to work on it.
Now we had to find a crew and start putting it together.
So I recruited a couple of my friends that were down at Kennedy.
You've probably already heard this one. So a neutron walks into the bar. I'll have a beer, he says. The bartender says, sure, how much will that be? Oh, no charge. I'm Michelle Willison. I'm a junior in aerospace engineering at the University of Michigan. And when I was co-oping at Kennedy Space Center back in the fall, Lindsay was working with me, and she's also from the University of Michigan, and was getting started on this project and invited me to work with her. So that's how I got started on it.
I first got involved with KC-135 when I was down at Kennedy Space Center, working with Lindsay Millard and Michelle over here. And well, basically, I was kind of reluctant at first, and it was going to be a pretty busy semester of classes and everything else. And then all of a sudden, I was in a meeting. I'm not sure how, and then it was, I was writing the code to write the software for this experiment. So just kind of slid into it.
Right away, I was very excited. So excited that I didn't tell my parents about it for a couple weeks because I couldn't believe it was actually happening, that I got the opportunity to be a part of it. But once school started and I talked to David a few times, I let the cat out of the bag and let everyone know that I was a part of this and what would be sucking up my time for the next few months.
Yeah, I'm Joseph Lambert, and I helped build things. Well, I met this friend of mine out in California, and he had a small favor to ask. And so I volunteered to help out on a small scale, working on a very small project, which then blew up into a monstrous task and a humongous project, and we wound up here tonight at 11:20 on a Saturday night.
A team? Yes. But how does a team work when its members are spread through 3 states and as many time zones? The answer? Hundreds of emails, faxes, and hours of teleconferences.
Can you guys hear us okay?
Yeah, hey.
Yeah?
At the University of Michigan, Lindsay takes up the role of team coordinator, communicating with the university and the Johnson Space Center. Joe, who can only serve as ground crew, heads up the machining of specialized parts. Michelle works with the two of them to design the framework that will eventually support all the equipment.
He said, do not do that.
David and Brett work out the electronics. David focuses on the computer program that will control the experiment systems, while Brett tracks down the sensors and equipment needed to record the data.
Those here, because I already have some Type P thermocouples that I can use for testing.
In Los Angeles, David makes calculations for the optics system. He works with Joe to design the lens arrangement that will let them detect the heat refraction effect.
Based on the numbers, I was able to get a pretty good look at it.
Drawing by drawing, the experiment emerges as a clear design. Together, the team agrees on the name, Project Firma. After months of preparation, the time has arrived to put all the parts together.
You're not as excited about this as I thought you would be.
It's here, at the University of Michigan, that the team finally meets to assemble their experiment.
I kind of have an interesting role. It started out sort of organizing people, contacting people, bringing them together, writing the proposal. Then it kind of turned into finding us money and organizing teleconferences and making sure that things were getting done. And now it's kind of, well, lately it was the structure, the structural analysis, and then I was writing the web page. And then I did the TEDP.
Test Equipment Data Package, or TEDP. And that's all the specifications on our project for Johnson Space Center. They have to know sizes and weights and the electrical requirements and how we expect to get it to Houston and bring it back and any kind of assistance that we need while we're down there. So it's this massive paper.
And now I'm kind of helping everybody with everything when they need it. But we have such good people. You know, we have somebody who's really awesome at machining, and somebody who's really awesome at structures, and somebody who's great at LabVIEW and electronics. So I don't have to do that much. You know, I just kind of help out.
With 5 months of planning behind them, the team has only 10 days together in Michigan to make it work. With this deadline looming, the team presses onward.
What's that?
This is the pressure transducer.
Yeah, 50 watt halogen bulb. When I got to Michigan,
Joe and I went on a road trip down to Ohio to actually pick up the rings that had been made based on the computer files that he sent them.
All the black Delrin was turned on the CNC lathe. This is for boring. Of course, if you know what a drill is. This was the setup we used to machine the cap. We took a solid block and in another machine, the spindle came down and interpolated this shape. I'm trying to help with the education side of it a little bit if we can.
Well, it's communication too.
Yeah.
The key is, if we don't understand what you want, we're sitting here going insane and making the job way more complicated than what it maybe really needs to be.
Yeah, I just think it's a good deal that you guys are going through all this, learning some things the hard way when it doesn't affect your paycheck. Yeah. You know. CNC vertical machining center.
They handed us the box of parts that we designed, and I had in my hand this perfect plastic ring for fitting a lens that matched the drawing that I'd done originally, which matched something that had just been in my imagination beforehand. It was just really interesting. It was really great to see that things can happen that way. Dave has something to show us.
On, off, on, off.
Parts are machined, electronics tested, and supports fitted. Despite their best efforts, though, tensions run high at the end of the week. They have fallen behind schedule and are worried they may not be able to finish.
It's Friday and we're 2 days behind schedule.
This might actually be the last cut that I do. Okay, well this time mark what's the top and what's the bottom.
We're gonna paint the Schiller tube, metal the optics inside, we're gonna have the op amp done for the heating wire, we're gonna have the accelerometers done, and we're gonna have the thermocouple mounted to the wire. That's a lot of work to get done in one day.
Cleaning these lenses for about the 80 bazillionth time right now. You wanna check that out?
Though their impulse is to rush ahead, they know it could actually set them back. Every step must be handled with care and in the right order. From the choice of bolts down to the cleaning of the lenses, they cannot afford a careless mistake this late in the game. One by one, tasks are checked off the list. As if for the first time, the team begins to realize that they are actually going to fly.
Hi.
We got 2 of the 3 parts put together and it's working.
At last, they are ready for the final assembly of their Schlieren projection tube. This is the main instrument in the experiment. It must work in order for the team to fly.
That is the last screw.
You got it, dude?
Finally, the time arrives for the full systems test. Lindsay inserts a loop of heater wire into the test chamber, being careful not to disturb the lenses within. Light from a lamp at the base shines up through the series of lenses to project an image on a small screen at the other end. Michelle controls power for the heater as Dave monitors the temperature. All eyes are to the screen as the temperature rises. For this test, all they hope to see is a shift in the brightness around the wire. Success! The blue section on the right shows the same wavering effect we saw earlier over hot coals in the park. Though crude now, they know they will be able to fine-tune it for their flight ahead. Celebration is in order.
Welcome to everybody to Ellington Field. Congratulations for making it this far. Your teams have done the proposal part of the process. You've passed that. You've been selected, which you have to consider yourself lucky because there was a lot of other competition that didn't make it. So consider yourself lucky. Also, your TEDPs have been sent in, have been reviewed, and we're still reviewing them. And we like what we see so far. So again, congratulations and welcome to Ellington Field and the Reduced Gravity Program.
My name's Don Sikoras. I'm the University Affairs Officer here at JSC. And hot, isn't it?
Working in an aircraft hangar alongside other students, our team runs some final equipment tests. They must present the experiment to a panel of NASA engineers and technicians in order to prove that the system is safe and flight-worthy. Every part is examined for potential problems. Next, it is meticulously cleaned of loose dust and debris before being weighed. By regulation, it cannot weigh more than 300 pounds, and the team knows it will be close.
Oh, 290! Oh, she lost weight! You will go through a travel pulse sensation, not so much in the chamber, but you will sense that when you fly in the KC-135.
All team members attend special training classes covering the effects of weightlessness on the body. The training is designed to make students aware of the strange new sensations they will experience during the flight.
Today we are going to the hyperbaric chamber. They're simulating an altitude of 25,000 feet, I believe. So that should be interesting, taking off our masks and seeing how we react to the lack of oxygen.
Okay, we've been off 2 minutes. Look at number 6's color. And now watch him when he puts his O2 back on. He's going to pink up right away.
I'm going to start spinning here. I'm going to spin you. I want you, if I'm spinning you that way, go ahead.
Though motion sickness was very common in the early days of the program, much of it is prevented now with proper training and medication.
Giving you that sensation because the fluid hasn't settled down from that spin yet.
With a mix of nerves and excitement, it's time to climb aboard. Their flight will take them through 30 parabolas for a total of 50 minutes of free fall.
When you're lying there on the floor in 2G, you really do feel like you're being pressed into the floor of the aircraft, and if you lift your arm, you can feel it. It's really a lot more difficult to move than it should be.
Then all of a sudden, there's no force on you whatsoever, and you're just floating there and trying to bounce around. And the first and second parabolas where I didn't even worry about the experiment. I just tried to float around and, get oriented with floating there. And it was just an incredible feeling.
Wow. I have to tell you, that's the weirdest feeling I've ever felt in my life, because they would tell us in all the videos, the physiological training videos, that you wouldn't be able to tell what was up and what was down. And I was thinking to myself, you should just be able to look around and figure that out. You can see the bottom of the plane.
You don't feel like you're falling. At least I didn't feel like I was falling. It felt more like I was floating, but it's not really a floating sensation because you never really feel any pressure on you anywhere. So you're just kind of there.
How's it feel? Really good. Absolutely amazing. 30 seconds is definitely not enough.
I was expecting it would be really scary, like a roller coaster or something.
You talking, Dave? We're weightless on the KC-135 doing our experiment. Measure refraction in a microgravity atmosphere. Dave's operating the computer, which is basically doing everything right now so we can play. Thank goodness, too.
I don't remember what I said before, but being on the KC-135 really is not like being on a roller coaster. If anyone tells you that, they probably haven't ridden on it before, because you really don't have any sensation of going up or down. You just have a feeling of being heavy or light.
Breathe down, come out!
I've never had a feeling like that before, with not having any forces on your body, and not having any control over where you're going at times.
I thought the bottom of the plane were the windows in front of me. It was so disorienting. And I didn't take the motion sickness medicine, so it was even more of an exciting experience for me.
During the first couple of parabolas, when you first start to float up off the floor, but you're still hanging on to something, I did have a little bit of a falling sensation, like I was falling towards the other wall of the aircraft, which was actually the side. So that was a bit disorienting at first, but you get used to it really, really quickly.
If you just lay out in the middle of the plane, you swing your arms, you'll kick your legs, but you won't move that far. And it's just an incredible feeling without any force on you. It's like you're dreaming.
It's sort of very free. You know, you kind of feel like you can go anywhere. It was bizarre.
It's just mind-boggling. I got to play with a pocket watch. I just pulled it out and it had this long chain on the end of it. And it was neat because you could let go of it and the chain would kind of twist around in the air, and you could push the watch, and the watch would pull the chain behind it and then pull it through loops and stuff.
I hadn't brought up any toys or anything to play with. I just really wanted to enjoy it. I did get to float around and kind of walk on the ceiling, and our test director spun me around in somersaults. I probably did 4 or 5 in the time that we had before I had to put feet down.
And I was looking at the computer monitor, trying to read some data, and my feet just started flying up and flying over my head. It's just a weird feeling that I had no control over where my feet were going above my head. But luckily, John was right next to me, and he did a lot. He was great in keeping us under control when I lose control occasionally in 0G, and he just grabbed me and threw me back on the ground.
And we're very proud to announce that my flight was the 7th no-kills flight in the history of the program. No one actually got sick. We had 1 or 2 people feeling pretty nauseous, but nothing came up, so we're very proud of that.
The students triumphantly stride off the KC-135, slightly dizzy, but elated. Re-entering the world of gravity, they will take with them the experience of a lifetime. For most, this will be the last time they experience weightlessness, but for some, this is only just the beginning. The team's experiment was a complete success. It captured evidence to show that refraction through heated air is quite different without gravity. These images suggest that the heat spreads out quite evenly and without the turbulent effects we see here on Earth. The mission was a successful proof of concept, and already a new team has formed to carry on with this line of research. Soon, a new crew of students will fly weightless with their improved experiment. They call it Firma 2.